Hello, my name is Curtis Oliver Lane, and today I'm going to talk to you about Robin Williams and how he inspired me to be me. So first off, Robin Williams, comedic person, very wacky, very outgoing, and of course he's well known for the man of many voices. So going off of his comedic aspect and his wackiness and outgoingness, because of him being a comedic person, I studied him when I was little. I looked at him and I got to learn more about him and more about him as a person and more about me. He made me smile from all the way from Aladdin to Night at the Museum and even Jumanji.
Monkeys!
He made me smile, he made me laugh, and I realized then that I had a sense of humor. So whenever I went outside, out into the public, I used to act out scenes from different movies and TV shows, and I acted out a couple of scenes from one of his movies. I think it was Jumanji, I believe. And of course, people were laughing at me. Because I was doing that, I was in my own little world. But I made them laugh, I made them smile. Granted, I was an outcast, but what are you gonna do? So I realized then and there that, okay, this was who I was meant to be. I was meant to make people laugh and smile. And even afterwards, after I gotten over that phase in my life when I was acting out different scenes, I was still able to make people laugh and smile just by being me. And I wouldn't have done that without, of course, going off of his wackiness and outgoingness in the stuff that he did. And I remember that before, in my middle school and elementary school days, I was not very well accepted, particularly because I was in the arts and everyone was just more so about sports. And I was more about the arts, so people thought I was weird, crazy, awkward, you name it. And I was really in my shell. I was not very out there. I kept closed in into myself. And when I watched some of his films and some of his, just his films, I did not watch the TV show that he was in, but that's on my list. But when I watched him in the movies, I would always remember how he was and how wacky and how out there and how honestly kind of crazy he was. And he taught me that, and I was immediately drawn to just going out there and being myself. Of course, it didn't set in until I got into high school when I was around people that were just like me. We were all in the arts, we were all just one big happy family, and I wasn't really judged based on what I did and what I did and did not like. Well, at least to my knowledge, I wasn't. And so whenever I went out in high school and got out into the world, I was able to just be myself, be the wacky person, and be the crazy person that I kind of am on the inside. And so he taught me to be myself. And because of those two things, he changed my life, from his wackiness to his comedy. And even though he is gone today, that comedy and wackiness still lives on through his movies and through his interviews that he had that we can go back and watch on YouTube nowadays. And I remember when he first passed, and I heard on the news that he had passed. I remember just being sad for a couple days, just being down the dumps because of him being gone and the fact that I wanted to meet him in person, but I couldn't anymore. And of course, it wasn't only that, it was the fact that I was never going to see a movie by him anymore. And so I also, for the next couple of days, I ended up watching a couple movies from him, and I hadn't seen those movies in a long time. And when I did, I laughed and smiled so much. And I immediately said, that's who I want to be when I get older. That's who I want to be when I get out of college. That's what I want to do. That's who I want to be. And so if I had the chance to tell him in person, I would have to say thank you for everything. So to end it off, I'm going to leave you with this quote by Robin Williams himself. You're only given one little spark of madness. You mustn't lose it. Whenever I hear this quote or read this quote, I end up thinking, okay, yes, this applies to me as an actor and others as whatever field they're going into. We all have that one little spark of madness that drives us to be who we are, who we want to be. And if we lose that, we can lose the fun in our lives and we may not be who we are. So a couple of questions I want to ask you. What is your spark? What drives you to be you? And how are you going to keep that spark lit and not let it fade? Thank you.
Just getting off the plane. As soon as I get off the plane, people start going, "Hello, Wobbin." I don't know where. I don't know when. Anybody who's ever done a pound of Peruvian blow knows that is a documentary. Knock, knock, come in. God, I feel like it's a human condom.
That meat ready?
Who's your daddy? Your body and your mind goes into slow motion.